Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and today is a really exciting day because one of my most anticipated LEGO themes launching for the first time this year has unveiled the first wave of sets, and that is, of course, LEGO One Piece. One Piece is one of the most interesting themes for LEGO to make, given that it's based off of an anime and technically one of the first times LEGO has ever done something like this. Sure, we got Speed Racer, but that was based off of the Disney movie, which was based off the anime, so I don't really know if that counts. This is a one-to-one adaptation of the original story, the original manga, going into the Netflix show and now being turned into LEGO sets. So it's a lot closer to getting official anime LEGO sets. I am super excited for this wave. There's a lot of good stuff to check out here, so let's dive into my analysis of the brand new LEGO One Piece wave right now. Alright, at long last, the LEGO One Piece sets have been revealed. I've literally been on the edge of my seat all day waiting to receive these images, and finally they are here. I cannot wait for this theme. Ever since it was announced earlier this year, I really was anticipating what the minifigures and sets could look like, and finally we have the pictures. So first off, to jump into some details, all of these sets launch on August 1st, although you can pre-order them right now, which is honestly a date that cannot come soon enough. If I do not receive these sets early for review, you bet I will be showing up bright and early in the morning on August 1st to get the entire wave and review them immediately. So fingers crossed I get them early, but really I have no control over it, and I have no idea if LEGO will decide to send me these. But I am very, very excited. Before we actually get into the sets, there's a couple of really interesting LEGO gift with purchase and pre-order items that you will get if you buy these. For instance, they're doing a buildable Gum Gum Fruit make and take in the month of August. There's a LEGO One Piece passport stamp available in August as well, plus a Straw Hat headband, which they're going to be giving out, and also doing a special release for the Minifigure Factory to get your own exclusive printed minifigures themed around One Piece. And then finally, you can also get a poster as a LEGO Insider's Reward. So I'm quite excited for all of these things. Clearly, they are going all out with this release, but without further ado, let's take a look at those sets. So starting with the two smallest ones, and probably the least interesting ones, although I do think these are actually still pretty good, we have the two Brickhead sets for Monkey D. Luffy and Buggy the Clown. I think these are two pretty good ones to start off with Brickheads. Obviously, you need to have the main character, and I think Buggy the Clown has such a unique silhouette with the hat and the clown detailing on the face and the blue hair that it just makes total sense that he is the other Brickheads they went with. Nice printed elements, but these are pretty much just standard Brickheads, so let's move on to the main sets. First off, our smallest set is the Windmill Village Hut. This is actually a flashback set, which is really surprising for them to depict. I honestly was not expecting them to actually depict this in LEGO form at all, given that it is not really an event that takes place in the main timeline of the series, and really just showcases the backstory for Luffy, but I'm very happy we're getting it, because it features some minifigs we probably wouldn't ever get. First off, this retails for $30 US or 30 euros, comes with 299 pieces, and comes with a kid version of Monkey D. Luffy, Shanks, and Makino. Shanks is a minifigure that, again, I was completely shocked that we're actually getting in minifigure form. I know he's relevant much later on in the show, but I really wasn't expecting to get one this soon, especially of the flashback appearance. So that is super cool to get. He does have a cape, which is really nice. I've only been given the box images for this set, so this is pretty much all we have to go on, but from the box, I really do appreciate the build. It feels a bit more advanced than your standard $30 build, with good studs on the side techniques, nice detailing on the roof, and it kind of feels like a long-lost modern-day LEGO pirate set, which I'm sure a lot of folks are going to be really happy about, even if they don't know anything about One Piece. Moving on to our next set, we have Buggy the Clown's Circus Tent. This retails for $55 US or 50 euros and comes with 573 pieces. I will say, that price, just looking at what you get, does feel a little bit high. I'm excited to get this in hand, and I really want to showcase kind of my thoughts on this set when we actually have it in hand for review, but for the build, it does feel accurate to what we saw in the show. I do like it for what it is. You, of course, have Buggy the Clown as a minifigure, which looks really fantastic. The element they're using for his hat is a brand new dual molded component, which I think leaked a few months ago. I remember seeing that online and getting super excited for these minifigs, and honestly, the rest of the characters are depicted pretty perfectly. You've got Monkey D. Luffy with a special new mold for his hat on the back, and what's really cool is they've actually made new molds for him with the hair and hat as a combo, or just the hat by itself, which I think is pretty perfect. Zoro has dual molded arms, which is really nice. Nami is looking fantastic as well, also dual molded arms and a great new hairpiece. And the rest of the build is kind of just your standard LEGO playset. There's that glass water cage for Luffy to break out of, and there's a new mold introduced for Zoro to hold the sword in his mouth. And also, as a nice surprise, you even have a miniature version of Buggy the Clown when he's kind of been chopped up into pieces. You've got the separate hands and the head just kind of on its own, which I really appreciate just how they were able to include that as an aspect of the set itself. Again, this is maybe one of the weaker builds of the entire series for me. $55 does feel like a lot for what you get, which is kind of a collection of disparate little pieces and components here, but I will say the highlight is definitely the big Buggy the Clown head as a brick build. I think that definitely does look really nice. Moving on from that, we have our next set, the Battle at Arlong Park. So this is meant to be kind of the finale of the show. $80 or 80 euros for 926 pieces, which is actually pretty good. And it allows you to build up the Arlong Park Pagoda. It actually has a really cool feature where you can literally smash the entire pagoda apart by pressing some levers on the back, which is really cool, obviously depicting the finale of the show. And the minifigs included are Monkey D. Luffy with stretchable arms. This is the only set that includes him with those stretchy arms that we first saw for Miss Marvel. We've got Nami in a special outfit with a printed arm showcasing the wrap on the side of her arm, which is actually a really nice detail. I wasn't really sure if they were going to pull that off in LEGO form, but they did it. Usopp is also included with not just dual molded arms, but printing on one of his arms as well, and a brand new dual molded hat and hair combo. Arlong also is included with a brand new dual molded hat hair combo. Arlong is one of those minifigures that I honestly wasn't sure if they were going to go for a molded head or just go for a standard minifigure head. I could have seen them doing something like they did with Pinocchio and actually molding the sawtooth nose, but I think printing it on the face is okay as well. Finally, we have Chu, one of the minions, and she also has a printed detail on the side of the arm, so they're really going all out with the minifigure detailing here, and I really appreciate just the amount of effort that went into this. Going into the actual build, I really like how you can spot a new mold for a snail telephone as well. That's a brand new piece, which I'm sure is just going to come in handy as a regular LEGO snail too. And you have all these different playable arcade games that actually work, like the shooting gallery actually has the ability to topple things over. You've got the shark attack play mode as well. But of course, the main build is the Arlong Park structure, which is pretty much just hollow inside. There's not much going on inside there, but the entire build is built around that smashing feature, which is super, super cool. Altogether, this is definitely one of my most anticipated sets. I think it is pretty good value on paper for what it is, and I cannot wait to build it myself. But with that, we can move on to one of the biggest sets of the wave. Not the biggest, but the second biggest, and that is, of course, the Going Merry pirate ship. This set retails for $140 or 130 euros and comes with 1,376 pieces, and at first glance, I'm gonna admit, it does feel a little small for what it is, but then again, I definitely do think it represents the ship very, very well. I'm gonna be honest, when I pictured a LEGO Going Merry, I was thinking of a gigantic set, like maybe like a $300 set that was fully detailed with an interior, maybe even $250. Like, give us something like we got with the recent LEGO Ninjago Destiny's Bounty, which was absolutely massive with a really nicely detailed interior and just a really sizable ship. But I will say that because they scaled it down to fit the price point, I actually think that this is pretty reasonably detailed, and as a plus, obviously it's a little bit more accessible than a gigantic set would be. Not everybody can afford the biggest, most expensive sets of a wave, so I do understand that LEGO wanted to do their flagship boat as maybe not the biggest of the wave, but the second biggest. So compromises were made, but I think it is good for what it is. The cloth sails look absolutely fantastic. I love the detail on them, and of course, the detailing on the side of the hull. There's no prefab boat elements being used here. It's all just fully brick built, studs on the side building techniques, a really nice build for the front ram, and of course, Luffy can sit on top of the front of the boat, which is totally, totally perfect. I think my favorite thing about the set is that you get the entire crew so far, Monkey D. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji, and they basically spared no expense when detailing these minifigures. They were really able to pull them off with great detail, like new hair molds for basically all of them except for Zoro, and Zoro just uses the perfect hairpiece already. So that is absolutely wonderful to see, and I just cannot wait to have this in hand. And finally, we can take a look at the largest set of the wave, the Baratier floating restaurant. This retails for 330 US dollars, 300 euros, and comes with 3,402 pieces. And this is an interesting one. They decided to go the 18 plus route for Baratier, which is pretty cool that they were kind of doing some playsets but also an 18 plus display piece. But interestingly enough, this set is kind of just a giant facade. It has a full-on interior which allows you to open it up and play on the inside with a fully detailed restaurant, the kitchen, the spaces for people to eat, all sorts of different levels, which is really, really nice. But for 330 US dollars, I have to wonder if there was a version of this set that was fully enclosed and maybe split open in half to reveal the interior. I do understand that this is probably stretching the budget to its limit. Like 3,402 pieces is pretty much worth 330 US dollars. I don't disagree, but I do just have to wonder if there was any type of way to make it fully complete, and I'm honestly kind of tempted to purchase 2 copies of this set just to try to actually build the backside and make it be a full-on sailing vessel on its own. Maybe that could work, I'll have to figure out. But taking a look at the minifigure selection of this set, this has an absolutely insane lineup. It includes pretty much every character that you would possibly want to get out of the entire One Piece theme, which is pretty crazy to see. Aside from all of the Straw Hat Pirates, which is really nice to get the entire crew, you have Zeph, Vice Admiral Garp, Helmeppo, Kobe, Dracul Mihawk in a minifigure form. I mean, what else do you need from One Piece Season 1 from the live-action show? It is really, really cool how they've depicted all of these characters. I think they look absolutely fantastic. That new mold for Dracul's sword is so cool. I love how large it is and how iconic it is as its own piece. And then, of course, going into the build, this is absolutely stunning. The interior is really well done. You literally have a double spiral staircase. You've got the rounded boots they all sat at and ate dinner at. You've got the stairs leading upwards. You have a full-on area on the upper decks as well with some of the gems and rare minerals. You've got the captain's office as well as the chef's area. I mean, you have every detail you would want. And then, of course, the gigantic fish head, which is built really nicely using gold recolors of the Lego Technic macaroni elements. I think that those are just done really nicely, and altogether, this is a very fitting flagship set for Lego One Piece. And I also love how the lifestyle images for once have it in a pretty interesting background where clearly this is meant to be like a piratey themed home, so I actually really appreciate that. It's not just in a concrete bunker this time. Altogether, I am very pleased with the Lego One Piece offerings. I think the sets just look absolutely fantastic all around. The only weak link in the entire lineup is maybe the Buggy the Clown set. I don't know, I'm not 100% sold on that one, but maybe once I get it in hand, my mind will change. We're just gonna have to see. As one final note, one of my favorite details about the sets is that most of them feature collectible wanted posters. They're actually mystery posters. You never really know which ones you're going to get when buying the sets, which is sort of similar to what Lego Harry Potter has been doing with their own exclusive printed tiles, and I think that it's just so perfect for the One Piece theme. You just get random wanted posters in the sets depicting all the different characters, and I cannot wait to see what those actually look like, because on the box art, they're all just represented by question mark mystery characters as silhouettes blurred out. So all in all, I think that's a really clever way to make the series somewhat collectible, and I certainly will be getting the extras off of Bricklink if I don't get the full set by buying the entire wave. Altogether, that sums up my thoughts on the brand new reveals for Lego One Piece. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of these sets? Are you planning on picking them up? Which ones are you most looking forward to, and which minifigs are your favorites? I will be covering these sets no matter what. I hope I get them early, but if I don't, you know me, I will be getting them immediately, and they will be the first sets I review on August 1st, no matter what, if not sooner. So stay tuned for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and thank you so much for watching. I cannot wait for LEGO One Piece.